Good evening, Zimbabwe. This is The Connection on Live Talk, a forum where we tackle issues to do with young people. We are coming to you from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Tuesday, May the 31st, 2022. I am Tungamili Nkomo. Tonight, we are talking political violence and efforts to cultivate tolerance among young people from different political parties as we head towards the 2023 general elections. On Sunday, the opposition Citizens Coalition for Change says its supporters were hospitalized after attacks by ZANU-PF activists in Kwekwe. And another Triple C member, More Blessing Ali, is missing. And the party says she was abducted by a ZANU-PF thug. But the police say the case has nothing to do with politics. Plus, ZANU-PF is also pushing back. Kwaziwai vatereri linjani muli yeZimbabwe kusangana uku muchirongwa cheve chidiki che The Connection pano pa nepfenyuro yenyu nepfenyuro yeStudio 7. Nasi tiri kukurukura nenyaya yepolitical violence uyezve matano ari kuitwa kupedza mhirizhonga iyi takaona nemusi weSondo. Mtungamiri webato reTriple C vaNelson Chamisa vachiita musangano kuKwekwe. Uyezve pakapera musangano uyu takaona bato iri rakuburisa mashoko kuti pane vatsigiri varo vakaradzikwa kuchipatara mushure mekuzvindikitwa nevatsigiri veZANU-PF. Asi bato reZANU-PF riri kuzviramba izvi. Saka tichataura nezvenyaya yemhirizhonga uyezve matano ari kuitwa kuyananisa vechidiki vanobva kumapato akasiyana-siyana. Triple C, MDC, ZANU-PF, ndokuti pasazoita mhirizhonga yakadai tichienda kusarudzo dza 2023. Hilo utaba isingalo sihloko esithandekayo. Lamhlanje sikhuluma ngodaba lodlakela kwezombusazwe phela. Sibone umnumzana Nelson Chamisa umkhokheli webandla le-Citizens Coalition for Change siba lo mhlangano eKwekwe ngempela sonto. Wathi uphela lo mhlangano sabona sebekhipha imbiko ethi abasekeli babo bachaywe kabuhlungu ngamalunga eZANU-PF, abanye balaliswa esibhedlela. iZANU-PF yakulandula lokho kanti iTriple C ithi yikho okwenzakalayo. Siyazi njalo ukuthi kule lunga leTriple C elathunjwayo mhla ka-24 kulinyanga elilokhe lingabonakali uMore Blessing Ali. iTriple C ithi wathunjwa isikliwi seZANU-PF esaziwayo, kodwa amapolisa athi hayi, uMore Blessing Ali kathunjwanga ngumuntu wepolitics, wathunjwa ngumuntu ayethandana laye uPhayasi Jamba kumbe Jambwa. So yilo udaba esingalo lamhlanje. Silabo abavela kuma-political parties achiyeneyo kanti silabo njalo abenhlanganiso ezama ukuletha abasakhulayo laba ethiwa yi-4H Zimbabwe. Sizabake labo kuhlelo. And joining me tonight, that's my first guest, ngubaba uGodfrey Kurawone. That's Mr. Godfrey Kurawone of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Vakurawone tinokugamuchirai muchirongwa.
Kwaziwai mkomani Tungamili, kwaziwai vatereri makadi Zimbabwe.
Aha, tinotenda kupinda muchirongwa Vakurawone. Ingati taurei nenyaya dzemhirizhonga idzi, starting off with the issue of More Blessing Ali. We are seeing this back and forth between you guys and the police. You are alleging that she was kidnapped by a non-ZANU-PF thug. And according to you, that's Pius Jamga. But the police are saying that this case has nothing to do with politics. These are former two lovers, and apparently Mr. Jamga is furious that he was dumped after allegedly spending a lot of money on his ex-girlfriend. What say you about that pushback from the cops?
Mkomo, this is not new from ZANU-PF. We all know ZANU-PF tactics. We saw the same thing happening on Itai Zamara. They create a different narrative of the actual thing that happened. The same way they created on Itai Zamara. The same way they did on most of the MDC members who were killed in 2008. Even today, they don't even agree if you tell them about Gukura Hundi. But it's known, it's open, it's known by everyone. So by nature, they are liars. And I'm sure that they're trying to create this narrative to divert people's, the people's attention on more blessing. They are doing this to justify their evil action. We all know they are responsible. Everybody knows they are responsible. Who doesn't know that they are brother Zamara? Everyone knows that. But they refused. They abducted Gonyet, but they refused. They abducted Joanna Mamombe, Netaya Marova, Cecilia Chimbiri. And today the victims are going to court. They're appearing in court over a cooked narrative by ZANU-PF in trying to justify their action, in trying to cleanse their evil deeds. So we are aware of that. We know what they do when they do such an evil thing. They create a narrative yokuda kudzivaidza vanhu veZimbabwe kuti vafunge sekuti havana zvavaita while least they know kuti they are responsible. So we will not take any word from them. We know the police of Zimbabwe, they were asked to investigate Itai Zamara. They did nothing. Instead, vakatsvaka dzimwe nyaya dzakawanda dzisina musoro. This is the same thing they're doing on more blessing. They're trying to create a narrative. ZANU-PF was not responsible because the police and ZANU-PF, they want the same thing. The Zimbabwe Republic Police is an extension of ZANU-PF. They act under instructions from the Jongwe House. They don't do whatever they think is the police officers, but they get instructions from Jongwe House. So what they are saying is a statement written maybe by Charamba or by Tafada Ngwadi at Jongwe House. It's not their own creation. So we know all these things. They've done this before. This is not new.
And the issue of violence, Mr. Kuraone, that you allege occurred in Kwekwe on Sunday after Mr. Chamisa's meeting. Has anyone been brought to book by the police? And did you guys report the matter in the first place?
Atina case, Atina reporter kubva. I think if you can recall from the violence in 2002, the violence in 2008, the violence, all the cases were reported. I will give you the example of myself. My own car was burnt in Mujura or Mumba. It was burnt to ashes. I reported. Nothing was done by the police. So this is the same thing they're doing. We keep on reporting and reporting and reporting, but at the end of the day, the police won't do anything. So all these cases they were reported, but the police in Zimbabwe, haina zvainobatsira vana veZimbabwe. It's only there to save ZANU-PF.
Asi mapurisa acho neveZANU-PF vari kuzviramba izvozvo vakuraone ari kuti imimi setriple C munowanzwa masvibisa mapurisa kana nyaya dzisiri kukufambirai, asi mapurisa panoita basa rinokufadzai munongonyarara kunge hapana chaitika. Muri kuti chine izvozvo?
Chekutanga mukoma ngomo muchaona kuti it's an abnormality kuti vanhu vafarire kuti polisi yaita basa, because that is what they're supposed to be doing. But however, handisati ndaona pachoti ndivarumbidze kuti politically police actor in a manner yekuti vari neutral. Maybe on cases dzekuba kwevanhu, dzekubirana kwevanhu, in cases dzekuuraya kwevanhu, in cases dzimwe dziri criminal, dzisiri political. In each and every case in political, I would want you to point one and say, on this one, the police did well for you, and you did not say anything. All the political cases, police ya Zimbabwe inenge ine divi, police ya Zimbabwe inenge ine rudivi. Saka hapana kesi yawatingati kwanzi ngati varumbidze. Besides, kuti tinofana varumbidzirei kana ivo vaita basa ranofanira kuita. Otherwise, we should complain if they don't do what they are expected of doing. But if they do what they are expected of doing, so they know. That's why they are saying that. They know themselves. They know they don't usually do what they are expected of doing as peacekeepers of Zimbabwe. As law enforcers of Zimbabwe, they are not doing what they're expected of doing. So that is why vachidaro. Makamboona mapurisa ekudzimwe nyika dzine peace achichemera kuti tirumbidzei patagona. Because they are always doing things according to the book.
Hayi liyamuzwa ubaba uGodfrey kurauone ngowebandla le-Yellow, ibandla le-Citizens Coalition for Change elikhokhelwa ngubaba uNelson Chamisa. Sikhuluma lapho ngodaba lodlakela ngoba ngempela sonto bathi bachayiwe kakubi ngabasekeli beZANU-PF ngemva komhlangano kaChamisa eKhwekhwe. Kanti abaningi lizakhumbula njalo ukuthi kulelunga le-Triple C uMo Blessing Ali osele iviki 7 days engabonakali. Abe-Triple C bathi wathunjwa ngabe-ZANU-PF, kodwa abe-ZANU-PF bayakulandula kanti lamapholisa athi hayi udaba lolu ngolwesithandani ngolwabantu abake bathandana alulani ilezo ombusazwe. And going back to the issue of Mo Blessing Ali, Mr. Kurauone, how is her family doing?
You know, like any other person, like any other parent, like any other sibling, when one of you is missing, obviously you are disturbed. People are still thinking, trying to figure out where is their child, where is their sister, where is their sibling. Up until maybe but all I can say is, whenever a person is missing, especially considering everyone knows how Itai Dzamara, got missed and how Itai Dzamara disappeared. Everyone is now worried. Once you get worried, obviously, because you start to think, what if what happens to Dzamara happens to her? Just remember saying, such kind of a feeling, especially so the family is worried. At least they want to know where is their relative.
And you're bringing in that the issue of Zamara. It's very unfortunate that several years on, we still don't know what happened to Zamara. Clearly, what kind of a country is it
And
that...
several years on, ZANU-PF is still denying that they were responsible for the disappearance of Itai Zamara. The same way they're doing on More Blessing. We know them. 7 years on, they're still refusing that they were responsible for disappearance of Itai Zamara. But everyone knows it's the Mugabe regime that made Itai Zamara disappear. But up to date, they refuse. So what can stop them to do what they did on Itai Zamara? They can do anything and still deny that they were responsible for the disappearance of More Blessing. By nature, they are liars. That's who they are.
Please do stay on the line, Mr. Kurawone. Abasanda kusixhuma singumsakazo westudio 7 njalo sikuhlelo lwabasakhulayo olwe The Connection vachangoti bata nokugamuchirayi tiri muchirongwa che The Connection chirongwa chinozeya nyaya dzine chekuita nevechidiki. Uyezve nhasi tikukurukura nenyaya yemhirizhonga as we head towards the 2023 general elections. Sixoxa ngodaba lodlakela lamhlanje sibhekane nje ilo khetho luka 2023 kanye lemizamo eyenziwa zinhlanganiso ezifana labo 4H Zimbabwe eyokuletha ukuthula phakathi kwabasakhulayo bamabandla achiyeneyo. Lamhlanje ngilo baba uGodfrey Kurawone kuhlelo webandla le-CCC. Ilamanye njalo ama-guests lapha uRuth Chomola bengilaye lapha ecingweni wenhlanganiso ke ye-4H Zimbabwe, kodwa ucingo lwakhe lukhathile, but we'll try and bring back on. Kanti ke njalo sinxusile labeZANU-PF bathembisa ukubana bazabuya kuhlelo, ngakho please bear with us as we try to reach out to them. Sibatshela ukuthi hayi uhlelo soluphakathi bakithi ngenani njengokuvumelana kwethu ngaphambilini. Meanwhile te yenderemberedu ne urukuru naba Godfrey Kurawone ve-CCC sakapoitwa sei apa va Kurawone taka nanga kusarudzo za 2023 nekuti we have seen in previous elections pachita boaboa nyonga mhirizhonga bata murefu bata mfupi, especially between you guys, the CCC, previously MDC Alliance, neve ZANU-PF. Zaka poitwa sei apa kuti paite runyararo muna 2023.
Not as a point of correction, we are not previously MDC Alliance. We are a very new party. We are a completely new party. We are not previously MDC Alliance. But some of our members, they used to be in MDC Alliance. But as CCC is a completely new party. It has nothing to do with MDC Alliance. It has nothing to do with MDC. So I wanted to make it very clear on that one. But on the issue of violence, you know, it's something that has been in ZANU-PF's DNA. We know from the Gukura Hundi era, we know from 2002 election, there was violence. 27 June 2008, there was violence. And we thought maybe Mugabe, now that he is gone, maybe we'll see a new culture of doing things. We'll see a new way of doing things. with maybe the inception of Emerson Mnangagwa. But things are getting from bad to worse. During Mugabe's time, no one was shot dead in the streets demonstrating, but we saw it happening during Mnangagwa's era in January, in August 2018. We saw it happening in January 2019. People were shot dead in the streets. Some that we have never witnessed during Mugabe's time. So this issue of violence, it's been in ZANU-PF for a long time.
Hold it there, Mr. Kurawone. I'll come back to you. We've been joined now by Ruth Chomola. I want to give a chance to speak, lest her connection goes away again. But please do stay on the line, Mr. Kurawone, as I bring in Ruth Chomola of the organization 4H Zimbabwe. Ruth, good evening and welcome.
Evening, how are you? Thank you for having me.
We are good. Thank you so much for making time. Ndimika vanatete Ruth Vayananisi. We know you are engaged in some mitigation efforts to mitigate violence among political party youths. Tell us more about your programs and how they are going.
Okay, so ideally the project started in June last year, but political parties, they didn't trust us and we had to keep on engaging, knocking on closed doors, trying to get their attention. But gradually we created a relationship with the parties, and then we started in November, whereby we started with the trainings. These trainings were facilitated for conversations about conflict resolution, the role of peace and development, and the role of youth in Zimbabwe in conflict. So at first it was a bit of like very volatile situation, but over time we got to get used to each other, to appreciate that as youth, before we're divided along party lines, we are youth and we actually suffer from the same things. And as the majority in the country, we need to come up and say we are agreeing on these things and we want to fight some of the negative things we participate in. I'm sure you've come across research that alludes to how we are more than 60% in Zimbabwe. And also we are the foot soldiers. When there is politics, when there is violence, it's mainly the youth who are running. And so for us, we said, it's high time we speak to the youth, identify, because some of these things we're doing them because of ignorance. We do not know our rights, we do not know our constitution, we don't even know how to manage conflict because some doesn't necessarily have to escalate. So we did trainings, we trained our youth leaders. We started with 3 political parties. This was CCC, ZANU-PF, and MDCT. And then after the trainings, we had a symposium. I think many people are aware of it, whereby there was a bit of conflict, but since we've been going through the strenuous trainings and all, we were able to manage it well as youth amongst the parties. No, this is not how we behave as my youth. Yes, our ideas are different, but we are one. We should suppose to agree with it. We are here to discuss electoral reform and not to attack each other personally. And so for us, that was a main success that finally it's getting through. So then we asked the parties how they would want to go forward. And all the parties were like, we want to have a sports tournament. We want to see how these lessons are helping us and how we relate with each other. That's when on Africa Day, we commemorated Africa Day by having inter-party youth sports. These were attended by CCC, NCA, that's National Constitutional Assembly. Then there was ZANU-PF, there was LEAD, there was MDCT, and there was FEEZ, Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe. Yeah, we had fun. It was great.
Great, that's great. And pa mitambo yacho yenhabvu yamuri kutaura, pane vamwe vatakanzwa kuti vakarowana munhandare imomo. Was it in one of your matches kana kuti ndezvimwe izvi?
Havana kurovana. It was a misunderstanding during the match, and the leaders intervened. They came and they helped cool the situation. So that was major conflict management for our part, a success for us. So we're saying if we're able to have such good, yes, conflict is inevitable, that's true, but how you manage it.
Oh, I'd like to apologize. They runare rwa Rutha chomola rwadambuka saka hopa kuti tichagona kumudzora futi pachirongwa, asi anga achitaura apo nemitambo yenhabvu yavari kuronga as the 4H Zimbabwe organization vachiedza kuita anatete vachiedza kuyananisa mapato ezvematongero enyika kuti asawanikwe achipinda panyaya dzemhirizhonga, zvikuru sei vechidiki vazamake lapo oRutha Chomola abenhlanganiso ye4H Zimbabwe ukuqoqa imidlalo yenguqu behlanganisa ke abasakhulayo abavela amabandla afana labo ZANU PF, Triple C, lamanye atshiyeneyo MDCT and so forth. Uthi baqhubeke imidlalo nge-Africa Day, hayi yaphumelela sibili, sabona kuthiwa kwaba lokutshayana, but uthi hayi abantu kabazange bachayane, kwaba nje singathi misunderstanding, kodwa basebe ilungisisana yaqhubeka ke imidlalo. As we try to reconnect with Rutha, ndizoke kwamuri mkoma kurauone manzwa zviri kutaurwa naRutha, mungati matanho avari kutora kupedza mhirizhonga pakati penyu vechidiki from various political parties, mungati iri kubudirira yini? Are you guys being tolerant towards each other?
I would like to appreciate the effort being made by 4H. They are trying to bring political parties together so that maybe one day it's not us being enemies or being violent or whatsoever, but but however, the problem which is now happening is our counterparts from ZANU PF, they indicate left and turn right. Vafundisi maskati asimanheru imhondi. That's the biggest challenge that we're having. Tata mabhora nhasi tichitaura peace, and the following morning or the following day vanorova munhu weCCC parally. We play bhora today, and the following day this overzealous Kandisha anoposta a message insider violence. To me, it shows that they are not committed. They are not committed at all. What they are doing is just lip singing. That's what they are doing. They are just doing lip singing. What they are saying and what they are doing are two parallel things. Peace, but at the same time, violence. So to me, my efforts, F4H, they will be rendered useless because of these my thugs are overexcited, like Wanakandishire. They are overexcited for nothing. Maybe it's because other power within the youth league is PF. So he's trying to market himself. But the way he's marketing himself is not the right way, because he is inciting violence, which we are trying to fight for as Zimbabwean citizens. So they'll try, but believe you me, as long as ZANU-PF is one of the political parties in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF will not stop violence, because there is no any other language which they understand. They cannot talk to anyone and convince that person Nemashoko. They cannot talk to anyone and convince that person with ideology, because they have been in power for more than 40 years. They have nothing new to tell any person to convince that person. So the only way to do is to use violence. So they will not cease to be violent until they are removed from power.
Siyabonga tinotenda Mkoma Kurawone. Please do stay on the line as we try to reconnect with Ruth Chomola of the organization 4H Zimbabwe. Ruth, urikutinzwa? Hello, Ruth. That connection there remaining very elusive, but we will continue trying to get Ruth Chomola back. Ngichilo njalo ngaphambilini ukuthi sike sakhulumisana labeZANU-PF uMabutho Moyo uMabutho Moyo ngoweZANU-PF kobulawayo sike saxoxa wathembisa impela ukuthi hayi uza kuba khona kuhlelo simfonele, kodwa we've been trying to do that ukuthi simlethe kuhlelo ixoxeni ngodaba lodlakela lolu, kodwa hayi akadobhi ucingo lwakhe, angazi mhlawumbe usuke waba matasa, but I'm putting this out there because isuswati tori any rutivi any position saka kana tichi kurukura nenya zakadai. We always like to bring on ma TVS ZANU-PF vari kupomerwa vacho vari kupomera different political parties really. Saka sizamile mpela ukuthi sibe labo abeZANU-PF kuhlelo. Isikhathi sesambile ngiyasibona siyahamba njalo, ube vumele ubaba uMabutho Moyo ukuthi hayi uza sijoyina sixoxe ngodaba lodlakela lolu, kodwa akasabambeki. Let me try Ruth Chomola again from the organization 4H Zimbabwe. Ruth, can you hear me? Hello, Ruth. Okay, it seems this is not working. Let me try and call him directly on the phone using a different app. As I continue my conversation with Mr. Godfrey Kurawone of the organization, the political party, Triple C. Saka Mkoma Kurawone matipoitwa say Murukuti ZANU-PF will never renounce violence, because that's the only tool they can use to win elections. Asi vari kuzviramba izvozvo, asi poitwa sei tichienda kuna 2023.
I told you before, Ntungamili kuti avavacho vanobvuma. If you still remember, during Mugabe's time, Mugabe would go on the podium and say, no to violence, let's vote in peace, let's campaign in peace. But after the rally, and he comes back on the same podium and refuses such things happened. So that's who they are. But now my problem now with Emerson Mnangagwa is at least Mugabe would go on the podium and preach peace. But this one can go on the podium and incite violence. What kind of a president is that one? A country needs a president who go on the podium and preach peace. A country needs a president who would go on the podium and unite the citizens. A country needs a president anoziva makukosha kwerunyararo. Not a president who go to a school on a careers guidance and encourage the young, the peoples to be engineers, to make guns and helicopters for war. That's the kind of a president we have in Zimbabwe. He always think of war, 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 and war. He think of violence, violence, violence. Shamutsi nemunyu, masoldier torabata vanhu murove. Such are his statements. So until we have a president who will address the citizens achitaura about peace, that's when Zimbabwe will have peace. Until we have a president, maybe in ZANU-PF, anogona kumira achitaura about peace, that's when Zimbabwe shall have peace. But as long as we have this kind of thugs, as long as we have this kind of leadership in ZANU-PF, we are very far away from attaining peace.
Thank you there, Mkoma Kurauone Ndabata Manje. Rutha Chomola on the phone. Mkoma Kurauone, please stay on the line. Saka Rutha, wanga uchitaura papa nezvirongwa zvenyu zvenhabvu zvekuyananisa mapato ezvematongero enyika. Takaona Triple C nemusi wesvondo vachiti vakarohwa zvakaipisisa kukwekwe uko vari kuti neZANU-PF, asi ZANU-PF iri kuzviramba izvi. Tichienda kusarudzo dza 2023, muri kuona matanho enyu achibatsira here pakudzikisa nyaya dzemhirizhonga idzi? Because kurauona ari kuti haazi kuona. He appreciates your efforts, but hanzi navakurauone ZANU-PF haigoni kuwina sarudzo pasina mhirizhonga, saka vachizoramba vachingorova vanhu. Muri kuona maefforts enyu achibudirira here?
As an organization, what you realize is this problem is older than us. It's been going on for years on end now. And every time someone wants to blame the other, it's never outright clear on what really the issue is, or who's the perpetrator, or who is the victim. And so for us, we are saying we want an inclusive, tolerant political environment. And for us, what made us really penetrate and break the ground was for us to use sport as the method, as a strategy for us. Saka, the feedback over time was that people would want the initiative to go across the whole country with much emphasis on us going to my hotspot areas, such as Mount Darwin and all. And for us as an organization, we are saying, now that people appreciate that this is what we want to do, it would be ideal also if my pressure groups, my movements, my CSOs also mainstream issues the political tolerance and peacefulness, because yes, will not be able to impact and determine whether there will not be violence in 2023. But now it's an issue of behavioral change. As a youth, as an individual, starts with you, Kuti. I want to make the conscious choice to avoid, to not be part of the conflict. As organizations, as individuals, together, we are able to raise alarm and say, there is unrest in this area. The perpetrator is this, and we demand transparency and accountability. But it starts somewhere. Already we are divided along political lines, and no one wants to agree with the other. And it's very hard for us to say we are going to unite towards this cause if we are divided. So we are saying first, we want to unify, we want to be one voice, and then we are able to demand goods on any. This we are done with. Like we're saying, youth constitute more than 60%. So if we're able to influence the youth to desist from violence, I think for us we can make progress that should not seen since 1980. So for us, we're saying we want to work, we want to continue, we want even those that we're targeting to also be willing to change their behaviors towards political change.
Uyakhuluma lapho Ruth ngama hotspots ajayele ukuba lodlakela kakhulu. I think ukhulume Mount Darwin. Muri kutaura hapo mzvare Ruth ma hotspots. Amuri kuti anowanzoita violence kunge kuMount Darwin uko. Which other hotspots have you identified anowanzoita mhirizhonga uyezve amuri kurongera kuti munogona kusvika ikoko muyananise?
Okay, so the plan is to go national. This is a national project, and we started the spots in Harare province, and we're going to cascade down to my district, my provinces. And ideally, what we're saying is, Kurukonzi Kuma rural areas, there's more intolerances compared to other areas in the country. There are places like Mount Darwin that are being said. There are places in Manikaland, in Midlands, where we want to go there. And like you're saying, there was unrest in Cape and all. These are things that are happening that you want to be able to mitigate and say, guys, let's come back to the drawing board and identify what really is happening or causing us to tolerate such behavior. Because ideally, we're supposed to be able to live together. Whether I support which party, that is up to me. That's my choice. It's a constitutional right. I should not be harassed for it by anyone for that matter.
And I imagine such an initiative as yours would be supported by the government. Have you tried to engage them?
For our initiative, what working memorandums of understanding with political parties, and we have also followed all protocol that is required in our activities. So we have had people from different ministries coming in. We have also had the opportunity to be able to question stakeholders such as that. We have also been able to engage the police. For instance, from our sports paper, the police were there working with us to ensure that everything all is in order. So progress towards working with the government and us getting my MOUs and them allowing us to work in community. I think we are making great strides towards that. And also the fact that the parties are willing to work with us already enables us to penetrate better as compared to if we didn't have the support of the parties in the first place.
Please do stay on the line Ruth, as I bring in Mkoma Kurawone. You've been listening, Kurawone. I'm sure you'd like to chip in.
Yeah. Like I said before, unfortunately, she was not here maybe because of the network. But we really appreciate the efforts on the edge. We can see their direction. We can see where they want us to go as a nation. We can see where they want us to go as citizens. But you know what? Our participation in their program will be determined by the behavior of our colleagues. Because it's only a fool who does one thing over and over again and expect a different result. So if we continue doing this and realize that our colleagues from ZANU-PF, they want to repent, then there won't be any need for us to continue participating in such programs. But at least we need to see some changes in terms of behavior. We need to see some changes in terms of the way of doing their business on the part of our colleagues. We can participate in this program to the end. If we can go, want us to go to Murewa, we can go and participate. We are prepared to do that. But at least we want to see the results achieved from our colleagues, because we can't say today we are playing soccer with them and the following morning one of our colleagues is injured, and tomorrow we play soccer with them, tomorrow one of our colleagues is injured. The people will take us as a joke. They say, look, you guys, what are you doing? We are trying to befriend people who want to be your friends, but at least if they show that they want at least to be our friends, we don't have any problem with that. We can play, we can do my activities, but then if it is like that, honestly speaking, we cannot continue. That's why I said these people, they have a good idea. They have a good, very, very good idea. But the problem is how we are going to implement it as political parties. That is what is going to determine the success of the program.
Interesting point there. Let me throw it back to Ruth. Ruth Hanzi Navakura, we really appreciate your efforts, but the success of your endeavors will be determined by ZANU-PF's behavior, because Hanzi Navakura, we need reciprocity. They need to reciprocate. Hanzi Isusu, we are playing ball, but we will not tolerate a situation whereby 4H iri kuita matano ekutiyananisa tikupinda munhandare tikutamba nhavhu, then tomorrow mumwe wedu omuka akapondwa kana kuti akarohwa. How do you address such a challenge?
Okay, I appreciate what he's saying, and it's quite practical. That's really a very sad incident for it to happen at the time when I'm trying Kuyana Nisavan. And it really brings back progress, because they will not be asking such questions. How far are we going to go with this progress? And for us as an organization, some of these things to influence my decision. And our idea setup is to now support from even the leaders, but support our methods to ensure that they account for their members. Because right now, let's say I'm a member of a particular party. Really, what is there that controls my behavior? Is there punitive measures that are there from within the party, or even beyond, maybe let's say constitutional part, that control my behavior as an individual? And in the event that I break those, what are the repercussions? We need for us to all be clear and be accountable for everyone. That's why it's really easier to follow up on these issues. And like he's saying, we can't be playing ball today and tomorrow this. Like we're starting off now, we are hoping for these things will keep on listening to the point where we don't even hear of these instances anymore. And also will keep continue. Let us not be disheartened by these incidences. Let us try by all means to save more lives. Let us try by all means to facilitate for peace. Because if you keep on saying Kuzoneni says, what are you to regular? At this moment in time, we want everyone to be on board, and we say we're going to agree against political intolerance in Zimbabwe.
And besides soccer, are there any other sporting activities or any other, different activities for that matter that you are planning to address this issue of political violence?
Soccer is just one of the strategies. We are planning on more trainings, more stakeholder engagements, and also joint interventions. Ideally, for this project, we want to come up with a youth charter on electoral processes. This is a document that's going to be contributed to by all the parties to say, what do we want, or how do we expect the conduct of our youth to be on electoral processes? We want democracy, we want to achieve this, and in all this, we want to document it as a youth charter. So it's also mainly our consultations be on that. And this is what we are saying, we want the document to determine if someone does this, what is expected, what is the way forward, for us to be able to inculcate some form of transparency and accountability on each and every member of the public. And for us to start with the youth, because we're saying we're the majority. And so going forward, we're going to be having consultations pertaining to what the parties would want the charter to have, what the parties would want to give power to the charter, how much of influence the charter they would want it to control, and how much of the charter they want to be represented.
And the training that you are talking about, Ruth, what does it look like? Do you have any education on violence disruption? Because here in the United States, especially in bad neighborhoods, they are what they call violence disruptors. These are people trained to disrupt violence, a potentially volatile situation. Suppose they see two people quarreling and trying to go at each other. They step in with their training and cool down the situation. Does your training entail such a thing?
Yes, the training, so far we've trained 25 people from CCC, ZANU-PF, and MDCT, the youth leaders. They were trained on peace, conflict, transformation, and development. Some of the issues addressed also included conflict tracking, peace building, reconciliation. Like I alluded to, like you were saying, with my sports, there was some form of unrest. Yes, there was a conflict, but we were able to manage it. And mainly the leaders were the ones who were able to influence. And ideally, our strategy says we're going to train the leaders. As we go to consult on the charter, we are also now going to train the youth and communities. We want to get to the grassroots levels. We want to get even to communities that have been labeled as marginalized and have this network of what we would call, for us, we're calling them peace ambassadors. They're the people who take it upon themselves to ensure conflict management, to ensure peace, to ensure that there's cohesion in society, and also serve as unifiers, and also be able to create a network whereby they flag these issues. If in this region there is some form of conflict, we want to hear it from them. They have to be on the ground. They have to inform progress. They have to inform if there is need for assistance. That way we are able to be there as a network of these ambassadors in real time. By the time we get to 2023, continue training, because this was a TOT. So if you continue training more youth and getting them to be part of the movement, then we have this strong network within communities that is able to serve as watchdogs.
Thank you there, Ruth. And please do stay on the line as we wrap up. We have just 8 minutes remaining on the clock. Ngiphenduke kubaba Godfrey Kurawone owebandla le Triple C. Mnumzana Kurawone, you've been hearing the Ruth Achi Taura. We are talking about the issue of peace ambassadors or violence disruptors. Do you guys in the Triple C have any training on the issue of disrupting violence or avoiding engaging the other side should they confront you?
I think you would recall some time back when Leader Masarira was trying to come up with a cooked story about the trainings which we used to do. Those trainings were meant to teach how to manage conflicts and how to avoid violence and how to deal with the issues of violence in terms of, making sure that there is always peace. So we have been doing that, but since we started the CCC party, we haven't had done such a training, and I'm glad that 4H has brought it forward. I think as CCC will grab that opportunity and learn from them. But the challenge now is, previously we used to do it on ourselves, but now that we will be with our colleagues from the other side, we don't know how much we are going to take from 4H, because some of these meetings that disrupted, we saw one being disrupted in Harare last time. I think you saw it. So that's the biggest challenge. But then I would want to comment on the issue she talked about the leadership, the top leadership, that they want to see the top leadership coming to witness their games and so forth. That is very, very possible. That can happen, but not at this time when we have the countries of today who say just hours after the program he tweets inciting violence. We then never know if our leaders are going to be safe in that environment. Let us like get together first as the young people and agree on the trajectory that we want to take in terms of maintaining peace in the country. Once we are sure that we know what we're supposed to do as the young people, and we know how important we are in as far as maintaining peace is concerned, that is when we can say, oh, Vice President Debiti, can you come to our program? We have a program. He will come without any fear of being attacked by anyone. But as it is right now, believe you me, you cannot invite him and agree to come on that program, because at the moment he doesn't know what these countries are feeling about him, especially when he tweets on Twitter. I think you've seen his tweets. They're always there to incite violence. He always inciting violence. So at the moment, I think the ground is not ripe at the moment for now to bring the leadership to such programs. But I believe with more effort, and like you say, that you have a number of programs that we have. So I think with more effort and with more time, I think that you will succeed to create a peaceful environment, which will enable everyone to come to your programs without any fear of being attacked.
And let's have your last word, Mr. Kurawone, as we wrap up the show and before we close it with Ruth. What would you want to say to other young people pertaining violence as we go
I
to?
want to send a very strong message to the Zampi people that when we talk of peace, let's be sincere and let's do things in utmost good faith. Let's not pretend, because peace is very important. And to everyone out there, let's all try to be peaceful. Violence doesn't solve anything. If you want to see how bad violence is, you realize that that thing is not good at all. So let's try by every means possible, wherever we are, wherever we go, with whoever you are with, try to make peace. Even mkakonana, I think dialogue should be the first thing than violence.
Well said there, Mkoma Godfrey Kurawone of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Titafara zvikuru kuvanemi muchirongwa vaKurawone. Please do join us again next time. We appreciate.
Nyabo ngakulu Putin tungamili.
Siyabonga Lati Kurawone. Thank you so very much. As we wrap it up with Ruth, the Zokere Kwaori Ruth, and we have just a minute here. Give us your last word to young people as we head towards 2023.
Okay, I would like to say to my fellow young people, what unites us is more than what divides us, and we need to set aside our political differences and respect individual rights, choices, freedom of association, and respect life. Njengabantu abasha okuhlanganisayo kuningi lokho kusihlukanisayo, so isikhathi sokuthi sibambane and say asafuni ukuba sihlukumezana, sihloniphe ukuthi omunye nomunye ulema-right akhe, uzakhetha lokho akufunayo, uzakhetha lokho okumhambelayo. Ungakukhulu to the point yokuthi unasifuna ukuphakamisa ingambilije ufuna ukumthaya kwenzelwane. So hoping ukuthi in the future we appreciate that we want development, we want jobs, we want a better economy, we want new innovations in Zimbabwe. And this comes from us as the youth. but we will not achieve it as long as we are this divided, as long as we are this polarized. We need to unite, regardless of political affiliation, because there is more that you can do for our country as youth and not as political parties.
Well said there, Ruth. Siyabonga kakhulu ungadinwa la kusasa ukuba lathi kuhlelo, and please keep up that good work. Siyabadinga o-anti tinobada bayananisi wanatete.
Siyabonga tinotenda. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Ruth, that's Ruth Chamola from the organization 4H Zimbabwe. Sivelo Godfrey Kurawone njalo owebandla le Citizens Coalition for Change. And like I said earlier, abezanu PF besibanxusile uMabutho Moyo wathembisa mpela ukubana hayi uza kuba khona kuhlelo, kodwa hayi sizamile ukuxhumana laye ube ngadopha ucingo wasazi ukuthi kusuke kwathini. But that's it, Zimbabwe. We appreciate your time, and let's make another date next Tuesday. This has been The Connection, your youth forum here at the Voice of America on Studio 7. Igama lami ngontungamili Nkomo Lilale.